Hello, friends and parishioners from Our Lady of the Woods. This is our latest episode of Take Five, and we're changing things up a little bit today. We have a special guest host that I like to refer to as me, and our special guest today is Father Bob Johnson. So we thought it would be somewhat fitting to just change it up a little bit and hear what Father Bob had to say about the pandemic. So, Father Bob, hello and welcome to Take Five.
Well, thank you so much, Jason. It's an honor and a privilege to be here. Of course, I'm in the other seat right now, but it gives me a chance to be one with those who were interviewed before. So thank you for inviting me. And I think this is our final episode of Take Five for now.
It is. It is. We'll be starting a new series, Tales from the Woods, which I think is going to be really informative for a lot of parishioners. So, well, let's dive right in, shall we? I've got my timer set up, and
All right.
I'm ready to cut you off if you get a little rambly, but that's okay.
No, you can't wait to do that.
I'm just saying. So, first question, Father, to you. What's one thing that you learned during this pandemic?
I certainly think that it was the gift of patience. And it was kind of coupled, not only that I had to learn how to be patient, which is a fruit of the Holy Spirit in Galatians chapter 5, but in that patience, I had to become comfortable with myself, because there were a lot of times I couldn't go out to my family. I couldn't go do things. I had to kind of get used to the rectory and become really comfortable with the rectory and the property. And then also, I think it was a moment with connectedness. How do I connect with people? Because I can't connect with them in the traditional ways.
And I'm sure that wasn't easy too, because you just moved in pretty much, and then all
Exactly.
of a sudden.
And I wasn't home that often to begin with my first year. I was always out with the family. So I would come in and basically go to sleep there, but not really kind of make it mine and care about making it mine. But then when you're stuck with four walls, you've got to decide to do something,
Got to make it yours. All right. What's one way that this pandemic helped you grow in your faith?
Certainly, I think it was the moment that I had to kind of face God in a new way. And I couldn't just become full of despair or full of desolation and say, oh my gosh, I can't function the way it is right now. As a shepherd, what do I do? And so certainly for me, my faith had to grow into discovering God in moments of either disappointment, in new ways, discovering God through COVID-19, through the bad or the good of people, that somehow God in his own way, in a unique moment, is there in the COVID. And I think the strength that got me through was it's the second letter of Timothy, chapter 1, verse 7, that I always kept that in my heart. And it says in 2 Timothy, for God has not given us a spirit of fear and timidity, but of power, love, and self-discipline. And I think that always, we're not called to be fearful. We're called to take that spirit of the power and the love and the self-discipline of God. I think that's what kind of helped me. I always have to have a scripture verse to anchor me in something.
Now, that's very profound and very beautiful as a way to help you grow in your faith. What's been your biggest challenge during this time?
I think it is wanting to be with a more personal touch with people. I know for me personally, I don't greet people in the gathering space before Mass. I don't greet them after Mass. Funerals has been very difficult, that you want to kind of go up and just sometimes even hug a person or grab someone's hand and let them know that you love them. And you're basically having to say it through words and not that physical side that, and I'm one who likes to hug and all that. So that's been I think my biggest challenge, that sense of how do I really let someone know that I truly want to be one with them and support them and love them, and even just end up giving them an elbow, what do you call those elbow bumps, or, just say, well, I'm thinking of you or praying for you. So I think it's that connectedness that I felt a little eerie with,
And I know you're answering these questions, but one of the things I thought for sure you were going to say is, I've never seen you so stationary when you give a homily. Before the
That's
pandemic,
hard too.
from the first time you were here, it was walking around and engaging with different people, and
Yeah,
we
yeah.
just can't do that right now.
And I like to go into people's faces and really take them on. And yeah, I can't do that. And sometimes in a couple of the funerals, I really wanted to go over to the grandchildren or the children of a family. And yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's part of that connectedness I'm struggling with. Yeah.
No, I understand. So, what's one thing that you miss in your parish right now?
I think I miss the more social aspects of getting together with people outside of just the mass or doing these different online or live streaming, just to be able to, go out to breakfast with parishioners or go over to the social hall. I used to enjoy that, having donuts after between the 9 and the 11. So I think it's more just the social aspect of just being able to spend time with the parish without it having doesn't necessarily be in a worship format.
Yeah, I think a lot of us miss the coffee and the donuts and being able to just spend some time, with each other. If it's in the gathering space or outside of the church, I think that's something that we all miss was that connection.
And I heard that some people aren't missing the coffee and donuts, including some in my family, because during the Mass that's being live streamed, some of my own family are sitting there, even in my homily, having a donut and a cup of coffee during the Mass. Well, it's live streaming. So I miss the donuts and coffee in the social hall and not, well, the priest is preaching or on live streaming.
Just making a note here. Father's homilies are easier to take with coffee and donuts. Got it. So our fifth question. Our fifth question, Father. What's one thing, and I guess this is unique given your position, right, as our shepherd, but what's one thing you'd like to say to our parish of Our Lady of the Woods, either in your position or otherwise?
Well, I think it comes down to, I was a teacher. I like pictures. I like objects. I would first say that we have a milestone coming up. It's our 45th, and we need to celebrate what we have been in those 45 years with the ups and the downs, with the victories and the defeats and the moments of growth and struggle. But I think what I would always want people to kind of keep focused on is this beautiful thing that I have. And it says, may we grow back, not to what was, but instead towards what it says in a very special way there, but instead towards what we can become. So not that we go back to whatever was the norm, because I don't think we can ever get back to what was the norm then, but may we grow back, not to what was, but instead towards what we can become. And I think that's a beautiful moment to reflect on our 45th anniversary. I think it's a beautiful moment to reflect on as we continue to have to encounter this pandemic. I think it's a beautiful thing to remember even as faith formation starts and everything else we do as we slowly try to reopen our parish. And the family of parishes that's coming up. What does that all mean? We don't even know yet the full ramifications of that. They're still trying to decide, what does the format look like? Who will be in your family? We've given our feedback. We're still going to give some feedback, but may we always get back to, may we grow back. Grow back, not to what was, but instead towards what we can become.
That's very beautiful. And I couldn't agree with you more that it's the right time for that message as the parish is slowly reopening and programs are restarting again. And, we take the lessons that we've learned, because you and I, when this first began, we talked about, do we live stream a mass? Do we not? And initially we said, I don't think we need it. There's plenty of options. And then look what happened. It's grown into something, that's bigger than just, one mass or whatnot. So
definitely.
Yeah. So
I look forward to our next series of programs, Tales from the Woods, 45 and Alive, and look forward to hearing people share their story and their part of the narrative. And I think a beautiful faith community that we continue to move forward, even with our ups and downs, even with our moments of frustration, in our moments of joy, but all our moments of sorrow. And you know that as well as I. I think one of my more beautiful moments is to celebrate a massive resurrection, that transitioning of people. And certainly what's very noticeable to me is that a lot of the funerals that I've had lately are the people who have been so involved in those 45 years. I think especially of Eleanor Alley, who was one of my first people that really made me feel welcomed. And, you know, her story, her part of the narrative in these 45 years. And yet we continue to go. As I said to you the other day, and to the people, there's a little baby girl that was just baptized, and her name, Eleanor.
Eleanor.
So that full circle of life, and the people I've met, and some wonderful God-fearing and just blessed people. And that they've made me a better priest.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for that, Father. And thank you to all of you for joining us on this journey of Take 5, looking at different perspectives from leaders in the parish, from parishioners, from people that you can draw some inspiration from. And as Father said, that next step in our online journey is going to be Tales from the Woods, which I think fits really well with that picture that Father was just showing us, that we can grow back, not to what was, but to what we can become. Maybe these tales will be little seeds for us as we are looking into what we can grow back into becoming. So again, thank you on behalf of Our Lady of the Woods, Father Bob, the rest of the staff, for joining us for Take 5. And we look forward to sharing with you Tales from the Woods, which will begin in September. Happy anniversary, Olo, and God bless.